All right, we are back. We are rolling. We are not live. I want to remind everybody that this is pre-recorded, and it does say the sound is going. So if it's recording this whole thing without sound, sorry, you're just gonna have to pretend. You know what I'm saying? In the last episode, Baka disappeared at the very end. So this is going to be a short duet to see what happens to Baka. Before we start, Cher, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
Yes, my name is Cher Davis. I am a POC variety content streamer here on Twitch. You can find me at that gamer Cher. And today I am playing Baka, your friendly arcane trickster rogue. And they are a kobold. They are all of 2.5 feet of feistiness. And they have with them a little tiny servant, and it doesn't have a name, but it was a corn dolly. For those who are familiar with harvest festivals and the like, it's a little miniature corn dolly that they found during their last investigation check. So they decided to animate it, and now they have a little helper to hopefully be a friend in whatever space Baka is trapped in now.
It's probably fine. My name is Jenna. I am your host and your game master for the evening. As I said last time, I will say again, this is not a game for children. This mini campaign is going to be, Halloween themed, obviously, but I'm not pulling any punches on creepy or bloody or whatever. So you have that warning now. And lastly, I do want to say one more time, this is not live. This particular one is pre-recorded because I, in your time, as we speak right now, am on a plane. So don't waste your channel points because I won't be able to see them. So all of that being said, let's get into it. Baka, it is pitch black and it is cold.
Ada? Ada?
You start kind of slowly, you were unconscious, you start slowly kind of waking yourself back up and you are a little dazed.
You're still with Baka. Good. Can you see? And probably the little corn dolly probably kind of just looks with eyeless face and kind of just puts arms up like but as long as it's just on Baka's shoulder, Baka feels a little bit better, but they're used to being able to see in dark spaces. They're used to living underground, as kobolds do quite often. Is Baka able to see anything with their dark vision, or
make me a Constitution saving throw. Let's see how you get. You're kind of, you were unconscious and you're kind of like waking up and trying to get yourself back together. So let's roll. Let's start with a con save.
Here we go. Ooh, that is not good, friends. That is only a 5.
A 5. Okay, so you do it. You do wake up. You do eventually see your surroundings, but it takes you a long time. You don't know how long you're down here in the freezing cold. You, especially kobolds, I don't know if they're cold-blooded or not, but you definitely are not on a heat rock right now. Like you're starting to feel like you're a little bit slower than usual because it's so cold in here. As you slowly wake up, slowly regain your faculties, slowly start to acclimate to what's around you and be able to see. Probably the cold is making you take a little bit longer to come back from this drowsiness. So you do manage, it just takes a long time. And when you wake up, you see that you are in a room. It is a very dimly lit room, and the room is freezing. And around you, tell me if that showed you anything, please.
Yes, it did.
Okay, excellent.
I have a room.
Don't see anything on screen. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna zoom in on this.
There we go. And why don't I go
this.
ahead, drag myself in there. There we go.
Sure. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. So we should be. Stream should be able to see this room now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Excellent. Perfect. Great. So this room is covered in ice and is very nearly pitch dark. In fact, I would say it is. You as a kobold are so used to being underground that you can see with just minimal amounts of light. Almost the small bits of magic that you know how to do is enough for you to kind of pick up shades of gray on things. You are slumped against a wall in this very cold room, and you can start to slowly see around you. It looks like there are other shapes slumped in here.
Okay, I think at all times, especially because they're small of stature, as soon as they're aware that there are bigger shapes in the room than them, more than likely they would cast Green Flame Blade. Typically you would aim it at a target, but in this case, I think just for flavor, it's a cantrip, like
just to see a little bit better.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, of course.
So you'd see like this green glowing blade apparate in their hand, and they would kind of jump up finally, out of the groggy stage, kind of jump up to their feet and just kind of do like the panicked look around the room.
Yeah, sure. So the adrenaline hits. You realize you might not be alone in this room. You cast Green Flame Blade, and suddenly all of this room is coated in a thin layer of ice. And the ice is now all an eerie kind of glowing green from your magical blade. And you can see around you as it sort of like flickers, it's sort of reflecting off all the ice. And even though the glow from the blade isn't that much, the ice is reflective enough that you kind of have light in here and can see again. This around you, which now that you're thinking about it makes sense because you couldn't hear anyone moving in the room. These bodies are still. These bodies don't seem to be alive.
Interesting. Okay. Once that realization kicks in, I think there are two things that Baka would have as their priority. First priority, is there anything valuable in the room? Not even to get out of the room, mind you. Is there anything valuable in the room? So might that be either perception or investigation?
That would be investigation because you're looking for something specific.
Great. Happy to do that. Oh, that is, let's see. My investigation is quite high. That is an 18, and I rolled a 5 on the die.
All right, nice.
Yes.
So you look around. There is nothing of value to you in this room. These bodies have been stripped. They're not even whole at this point. What you're seeing is parts that have been sort of grouped together by person. But all of their belongings, all of their things, all of their clothes are taken, are gone. So what you're rifling through is an arm here, a leg there. It doesn't seem like there's anything of value in here. You are in a freezer full of meat.
Question for you. Are those limbs all human, or are there different races maybe? Like, is there a furry arm? Is there a human leg? Is there a, you know what I mean? Like,
some of them are hard to tell, especially between races like human and elven and things like that is a little bit different. But you do have a very high investigation, so you've been going through. You find a couple human pieces. You find what look like some dwarven pieces. You find pieces that you're not entirely sure.
Oh dear.
There are multiple bodies in this room.
I think the first once the realization sets in that these are body parts, Baka would check themselves to make sure. Tail, okay, check. Everything is that nothing. It's almost that the old tales, about people getting their kidneys taken out and dumped in a in a laundry tub. Like, do I feel any stitching or sutures, or is anything of mine missing?
No, you are fine. You do not have any health missing. Mechanically speaking, there is nothing different from you from a moment ago. You were with your friends, and now you've woken up here and you have no idea how long it's been. You do know that your friend is still with you, so it's probably been within 8 hours.
Right. So, all right. Well, next priority then. Are there any ways to get out of this room?
There is one door. There's one door to this room.
Okay. Is this it here, down here? Okay.
Hold on. I am very smart and here? Lost my... Yes, that is the door.
Excellent. Baka will cast Mage Hand and will use the Mage Hand to check the door to see if it's locked, if there are traps, all those lovely things.
Sure. I will go ahead and let you know. It doesn't look like anything happens to the Mage Hand when they try the door, trap-wise, but it is locked.
Okay. Interesting. There's a solution for that. I cast Knock, which I can go ahead get that in the. Let me display that for you here. Hopefully that went over there. Yes. So that allows any object, a door, including a door, that may be shut or mundane locked, becomes unlocked. So hopefully that pops it open.
A perfect spell for a rogue. You hear a soft click as the door opens.
Excellent. Okay. All right. And I think Baka would just kind of peek their face a little bit out into whatever hallway or, whatever is outside of this door.
Sure. So you see in front of you, I will just kind of give you the area right in front of the door. Tables. You see in front of you tables with body parts, with jars, with potions, with powders, with plants and herbs. You see ingredients. You also see, although it's a little off to the side, and if you just creak the door, it might have been harder to see, there seems to be some sort of symbol carved into the ground and smeared over with dried blood on the ground.
Ugh. Ooh. Yikes. Okay. And they will definitely take note of that. But they are definitely trembling. Hopefully Baka does not go on the chopping block. Ooh, gotta get out. And but they will at least make sure of the details so that when and if they need to show it to their friends later, they can use a minor illusion to be able to do so, and let them know what they saw. So not seeing anyone, they would go ahead, creep into this room. Is there a further passageway once they step into the room?
Yes, let me adjust here so that stream can see it a little bit better. There we go. You can see that. That is just the corner of the room you can see when you open the door. If you open the door a little farther, you can see the rest of the room, which I will show you. Which is...
Okay.
There.
Okay, so much more of the same.
Much more of the same.
On tables, that sort of thing. Okay.
You see the back, directly farthest wall from you is a shelf with rows and rows of things.
Oh, interesting. They would be curious enough. I think they would come this way to avoid said mark on the floor, and just quickly kind of dart between the tables here. Anything interesting hereabouts as they make their way towards this back wall?
Sure. Quick question for you. Baka likes shiny things. Does Baka, in your travels, do you feel like you've sort of gotten an idea of what is rare, or are you really just focused on the shiny?
I think when it comes down to business, Ada actually
legitimate over the board business.
Yes, I think Ada has been helpful in that respect, helping them discern, okay, shiny but actually valuable versus not so shiny, as it seems. Sometimes she does have trouble with that. So if you'd rather leave this to the dice, for example.
Let's say roll a nature check, and I will lower the DC a bit because you have that relationship with Ada.
Okay. Let's see. Ooh, okay. 17 on the die, plus 3 for nature. That's
all right. All right.
Not
dirty
bad.
20. I'll take it. So there are you don't do a lot of magic yourself, but you know. These are spell components. This is a wall of spell components and ingredients for rituals, for spells, for magic. You can just tell that right off the bat. As you get closer and you're sort of inspecting the things on the table and looking at the things on the shelf and stuff, there are things that you have never seen before. There are things that you know, like, oh, where did they get this? Where did that come from? So some of the things that you notice, there are a number of glass vials of blood with different labels on them. What languages do you speak?
I speak Draconic, Common, and Thieves' Cant. However, I do have prepped comprehend languages. They come across such rare objects or weird looking items that a lot of times may be inscribed with a language that they're not able to readily read. So they would have comprehend languages many times to be able to just quickly say, oh, okay, it's this. It is, valuable or not. So I'm more than happy to cast that.
Absolutely, go for it.
Yeah, that is casting it at first level. Here we go. All right. So you cast comprehend languages, and the labels on some of these things sort of like shift around in your vision. They almost swim a little bit, and you blink, and they put themselves back in order in a way that you can read them now. The vials of blood. The vials of blood are in a vial. I don't know what it's called. A collection. It's that wooden. Yes, like a holder.
The wooden thing, and then
Yes.
So there's many of them. They're larger. We're not talking about the blood you give. Just a little tube. Like these are large. These are large vials. This is a lot of blood. This is you do not live when you give this much blood kind of blood. And the labels say things like humanoid, demonic, celestial.
Interesting.
There is one that says draconic, and it looks like there is not the same amount in it as the other ones that say, humanoid, celestial, things like that.
So there's less in it, you're saying?
There's less. Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. And I think because of the reverence that kobolds in general have for dragons, I think I don't know that Baka would know draconic meaning dragonborn versus actual dragon, but as soon as draconic period, I think they would still be incensed a little bit, like how dare
so these are not one-to-one translations. You're reading, the spell is giving you what the essence of the original language is, so it's not saying it's sort of dragonoid, blood of dragonoid, the same way that the other one is blood of humanoid. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's dragon, or it is somehow in the dragon family, dragonoid.
Perfect. Oh, but yeah, Baka's level of understanding though would probably say, blood of dragon? No, no good. And I think if there was no one else around, I think they would try to pilfer just about every vial they could, as long as the bag of holding is still on them. Is my bag of holding still on me?
What does your bag of holding look like?
So this bag of holding, it would look like the most nondescript potato sack. Doesn't do well if as a rogue to carry around anything fancy, like Ada might, for example. So it looks just like a potato sack. It does have, just so that I know that it is my bag of holding, it does have a little scratched little drawing of wings on it. And they look like bat-like, like dragon wings. Just a little insignia in the corner.
Searching around on yourself, you don't see it, but after a moment of poking through this area, you find kind of like a discarded refuse pile that has some of your cloak and your bag and the cloak and bag and stockings and coat that don't belong to you. Just a pile of discarded things in sort of a dark corner.
I wonder if I packed it today. No, I don't have detect magic. So I wouldn't necessarily be able to, unless you permit me an Arcana check, perhaps. I don't think Baka would readily recognize if anything was magical. By sight, they would recognize their own stuff and put it back on if there's no problem with that, DM.
Yeah, go ahead. Make an Arcana check.
Okay, let's try. Because... Oh, no. That is only a 5. Nope.
Well, your stuff all looks not magical. You very specifically have a look about you that you have nothing worth taking. So you feel like probably this is the pile of discarded shoes and clothes and stuff from the bodies that were in the freezer room, and there's probably nothing else in here because...
Yeah, if there's nothing shiny in that pile, they would just say, "Oh, mine! No, take mine!" and go ahead and put their things back on, and leave the rest.
Sure. As you walk a little bit ways farther through this chamber, you see there is another sort of shadowed area off to the side here that is covered in books. This seems like an arcane, mage sort of study area. You do have comprehend languages up. A lot of these books are in very, some of them are in primordial, some of them are in celestial, some of them are in infernal, some of them are in deep speech. There's a little bit of everything around here, but there are make me an investigation check
Okay.
on these books.
All right.
If you are looking at the books.
Indeed. Oh, that is 19 on the die. Plus. Yeah, investigation. Plus 13. So 32?
Nice. So there are books in here that are sort of spell books for mages. You know, there are books in here that are about certain schools of magic or certain types of magic. There are books in here on interesting how to procure, safely acquire, and keep hold of without hurting yourself very dangerous alchemical or spell component pieces. Things that kind of harken back to what you were seeing over on the other side of the room. There were things like black bile slugs and phase spider venom and naga venom and arsenic and belladonna, and not very nice things that you don't want to touch. So there are books on poisons and poisonous and venomous animals and dangerous things, and how to collect those ingredients for spells, and
if
how
it's
to
possible,
Mm-hmm.
If it's possible, I think Baka would be interested in at least the one book on poisons and the other book on how not to hurt yourself while picking up certain things. They normally would probably use their mage hand, but that's still a good reference, I think, that they would want to walk away with. Any book here, because since Baka, tries to have this running business partnership with Ada in particular, first off, going back to the vials that I saw, how easy is it for Baka to mage hand those vials off? Are they stoppered or not? Or
they are stoppered. They look like they have some sort of possibly alchemical, possibly some sort of magical seal over the top of them.
Okay.
It's like a wax, but it's got a slight shimmer around it.
Okay. And you mentioned one says celestial, another said demon, I think.
Humanoid.
Humanoid.
Yeah, humanoid, infernal. There are some like basic, mechanically like the types, in D&D. So it's kind of the types from various different realms.
Sure. How about this? How about I roll a die and see how many I get? Maybe a D6? Would you like to try that?
Sure, go for a D6.
Great. Okay, so rolled a 4. And so what types do you think? Maybe the humanoid? Because going back to their relationship with Ada, we had spoken earlier that same day about the Ada had mentioned the use of blood in certain type of magics, and I think Baka would try to take a little something that Ada might either use or think that was valuable later on.
So my guess is Baka would probably, obviously, as you already said, she would take the draconic or dragonoid, blood of dragonoid. I would think, just from your dealings with Ada, that Baka would probably think Ada cared about the celestial and demonic blood.
Got it. Okay.
That makes the most sense to me. And then humanoid is there, but there's Fae, there's elemental, there's whatever. The elemental one is interesting. There's a couple different ones. This particular elemental blood looks like it is fire elemental, so it's almost like a lava situation. Like a white hot iron, look to it. in that one. So that isn't
I
shiny, but it is glowing. So probably Baka would go for it.
Yeah, I think so. So yes, so celestial, elemental, fire, demonic, and dragonoid. Got it. And
then
those
some of
two
the
books.
books
Right.
And the books that are out and more open, like more recent study on the table, are very heavily necromantic magic.
Okay.
You're seeing things on sacrificial rituals, and I need you to roll me an Arcana check.
Okay, great. Let's do that.
Because you are not trained in this sort of thing, so I'm not sure even with comprehend language that it would make sense to you.
Okay, so that is 12 on the die, plus 3, 15.
15. A lot of what's here doesn't make sense to you. You do get the word receptaculum.
Ooh.
Which, just for everybody involved watching the stream, a phylactery is probably what you're thinking of, but that is a word taken from Jewish culture. So rather than using an appropriated word, we are using a not real word. But whatever you think of when you think of phylactery.
Interesting. And you know what? Do you mind popping that spelling into the chat for me, just so I have
Sure. And I will do that for you right here.
Great.
Here we are.
Okay. Got it.
All
So
move
all right.
So you can see it a little bit better. I feel like I've
and
constantly
how
moved
big
this map.
how big is that receptaculum? Is it kind of small,
you don't see the thing. You're trying to read the books and figure out what the books are talking about. So that's a word that sort of that you're like, what is this thing? It doesn't translate the way other parts of the books have been translating. And the only other thing you can figure out is there is some sort of very high-level magic about an imprisonment spell.
Okay.
But you can't figure out anything else about what you're reading. This is so above your level here. But that's sort of what you get from the books.
Yep, those two books, dump them in the bag of holding. And I think realistically, because Baka is 2.5 feet tall, maybe there are books that are up higher than what she can reach. This would be where the tiny servant would come in the handiest, where Baka would say, up there, and then just have it kind of scamper up the shelf and kind of maybe pull out and knock over a book. And as soon as it hits the floor, then that's when they'd be able to get a good look at it.
That's when you're going for it. Yeah, totally. And then you do see, I don't know if the way I have the map right now, if you can see it, but there is sort of a hallway up towards the top that is still sort of in shadow.
Okay. All right. Yes. Once I'm done with the books, definitely would make my way over there to investigate further.
Sure. So, in this sort of curved hallway, is this gonna, nope, please do the other thing. Thank you. The part where we show. One day, roll 20. Okay. Can you see that now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. And hopefully stream can see it too. Okay, cool. I'm gonna move the map up a little bit here. A constant for me. So you see a hallway, and the hallway sort of turns around, and around the curve you can see a glowing green light. You also see in this hallway there is a portion of the area that you've been in has been carved out. Like, this is a room with stone walls and a stone floor. There's spider webs and everything in here. This is obviously a very old room, but has seen very recent use. And there's one portion towards the end of the curve there where the wall is sort of broken away, and it's sort of rubble that leads into more of like a natural cave area.
Okay, so cautiously as much as possible, definitely stealthily, Baka would move forward. Would you like me to roll a stealth for that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And sort of which direction are you stealthing towards?
I think it's a matter of peeking right around this rounded corner here. So I think they would stay on the wall where they are and just wrap around that corner.
Sure, roll me stealth.
That is a 16 on the die, plus 14. That's a natural 30.
Excellent. So you see around this corner is a huge waterfall of glowing green acid. And at the front of the waterfall is a giant stone statue that looks familiar to you. This is a statue of the same person in the town center fountain. And the statue is standing directly in front of this sort of waterfall of glowing acid. And that's on that side. And then towards the left is the sort of cave-like entrance here.
Interesting. Well, then seeing that, definitely Baka would back up because that must smell amazing, that amount of acid in one place.
I'm sure it's probably fine.
Oof. So they would back up immediately to the other wall, hug this wall like, ooh, bad liquid, bad. And then make their way as quickly as possible and quietly as possible up to the other hall.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your stealth up, so we will go with that.
Indeed.
So you slowly creep around the hall here, and the smell. So the freezer didn't really smell like anything other than frostbite.
Mm-hmm.
The area that you were just in smelled like a lot of herbs and spices and all sorts of things going on. Obviously, the book area smelled like decaying paper. As you walk closer to this acid, it's an acrid, caustic smell, like it sort of prickles on your face and burns in your nose as you go by. And as you start down this sort of cave-like break, it's earth in here. It's damp. It's wet. There's red clay running through all the earth in here. There you can see bugs in the soil. It is a earthy cave in obviously an area that is very swampy and prone to flooding.
Which to Baka is actually quite comforting. They are very familiar with underground spaces. I think this would be the most comforting area in this entire place. Now,
yeah. So this is a very comfortable area that you're walking into. So you, so you sneak and peek around the corner, and above you are roots, huge, deep roots, and curled all into the ceiling, knotted around these roots. You see bodies everywhere, and the roots are curled up and through and coming through eye sockets and tearing off limbs and slowly taking over these bodies.
Bad, so bad. Like, they would just take it all in. Is there any I'm trying to think, is there any way that Baka might know or have overheard anything while sneaking around earlier in the tavern that pointed out snatches of conversation that were like, yes, the Dark Lord is on his way, or the Grandmaster will return, or any cultish talk that she may remember, anything like that.
Nope.
Okay. Alrighty.
Roll me a survival check.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Oh dear. That's not that great. That is it's a -1 on that. That is a 6.
A 6. You have no idea where you are right now. You know you're underground because there are roots above you, but you have no idea where you are.
Okay. All right. Fair. So, continuing stealthily forward, as much as possible. Just trying to find the exit as soon as possible.
As you try and walk farther into this area, the bodies click, creak, and sort of turn slowly in your direction. And you can see the roots start to move and twist into them and start pulling them up towards you. And you very quickly get the idea that this is many, and that's not good.
No, her kobold senses are tingling. Yeah, that would be a GTFO situation as soon as they saw movement like that. Yeah, retreating back down the tunnel. I don't know if you need me to roll another stealth at that point, but
I don't. What I need you to roll is a Constitution saving throw.
Oh dear, yeah, I was gonna ask, because my very bare kobold feet are touching that red clay. That is a 10 on the die. Here we go. That's a con saving, correct? Hold on. Sorry. It jumped away from me here. That is an 11.
An 11. Okay. So you feel the roots from the ground start to shift and rumble around you. You see these things start to move and the bones start to click into some sort of placement and turn to you as you get closer. And your kobold brain sort of turns off and just goes, nope, danger, time to go. So you sprint back, avoiding all of the roots and bones and stuff that are on sort of the floor area of the cave where you are, but you are in such a fight or flight mode that you run sprinting back straight towards that very acrid, caustic acid. And as you're running, I made the map small for the sake of making the map small, but this is a longer sort of hallway between the two. They're not right next to each other.
Of course.
You're running as fast as you can to get out of here, and suddenly you realize you are taking very deep breaths as you run of this acidic. You are inhaling this, and that's where your problem is. And you start to, as you're running, your vision sort of blurs a little bit. And as you get back to the hallway, you swear it's almost as if the statue turns in your direction. And just as you're getting there and stopping and catching your breath and realizing what you've been inhaling, stepping out from behind this huge fountain, you see a large man on a black horse that is so black that it's shadow, that it's fog, that it's acid. It's pouring out of its eyes. It's pouring out of the pumpkin head, just dripping down off of this as he comes around the corner and stares into your soul, and everything goes black. And that's where we're going to end today.
Okay, word to the wise. When your DM says, this will be fine, don't you believe it.
I gave you some fun, shiny things. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Oh, dear. Love
All
it.
right.
Love it.
This has been us, everyone. I, once again, am Jenna. I am your lovely, darling, innocent game master. I GM here on Twitch for Ladies of D&D, so you can find me here. You can also find me on Nerdlandia's channel, where I play Cordial on Sunday nights in our Hell's Bells game, which, coincidentally, you can also find Cher. Cher, would you like to plug anything else?
Yes, of course.
My fellow tiefling.
Yes, indeed. And I play Sombra, a very spicy tiefling. And I'm actually also in a brand new campaign called The Realm of Evanrune over on the Nerdlandia channel, DM'd by our lovely friend Kat. Very excited to be playing a dragonborn barbarian named Cole in that campaign. You can find me most everywhere at That Gamer Share. And I am really intrigued to see if poor Baka can survive this. Oh, friends, come help, please.
So yeah, we will be back next week. This was pre-recorded because I'm on a plane right now when you are. Not when I am. It's fine. It's complicated. Next week, we will be back with the rest of the cast, sans Baka, because she's in this area. The rest of the cast is going to get a chance to try and find her. We will be live next week, so tune in for that and don't miss it. And then if everybody lives, then whoever's left will be there for the final game right before Halloween, for our Halloween special. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please join us next time. Be good, be safe, make good choices. Bye.